Josh Luber opened some cars with backyard brakes out of Florida. I just want to get the what the group thinks here. Who we got some people here in the chat room. What are your thoughts on that? I've heard some people say that, and I think Car Porn just put something on Instagram, kind of breaking down a text message or something that Luber sent out. Um, Let me state what I think about this. Right, I thought that when Luber got when Fanatics became involved more into cars and Luber became more vocal about his ideas about the future of the car market and what he wanted to do. A break, Luber involved in a break was coming. That's just entered my mind. It's just something that did not shock me. Um, Backyard breaks, I didn't think about who the breakers would be, but it doesn't shock me. You know, we were at the Mint backyard, walked right past us, and was right by us. And a lot of
Yep.
cameras, a lot of fanfare, a lot of people looking, a lot of people walking around.
Entourage.
Yeah, so that group, if he decided to do a break with a group that's how almost like if you're in a collecting world, you know who backyard breaks are. Whatever you may feel about them, right? You
Right.
know who they are. And then when I say feel about them, because the Trevor Lawrence card that came up and they wanted to keep the card where they had just said they were going to give the card away. Um, so I'm not surprised that he chose them to do a break with them. I think the community is probably asking the question, why? Why would he choose these guys who have already been controversial? Some people believe that they've thrown their integrity away with the whole Trevor Lawrence thing. Why would he choose them? I can't answer that question, but I just, as we go through this, if there's anybody out there in Sin City, you can share your ideas as well. Does anybody have any ideas about that or what they think about that or how they feel about that? Feel free to share.
Yeah, I mean, you got to understand that there's two sides of the coin in situations like this. I mean, the Trevor Lawrence thing put them on the map as far as possibly doing shady things, right? Unfortunately, and maybe to kind of get some credibility back in their eyes, they reached out to Luber and to see if Luber could get them out of that controversial hole that they dug themselves into with that Trevor Lawrence thing, right? So that's a possibility. I was reading on it a little bit before we jumped on and saw that, possibly some money was thrown towards Josh Luber to jump on with them, right? So who knows? I mean, I'm not coming out and saying nothing without, these are all rumors until proven methods. But yeah, I mean, we'll see where backyard breaks goes, and we know what Josh Luber's doing. I mean, that guy's a genius. There's a reason why he was able to purchase Tops, right? A deal so big in the industry, and all the things that they have in the pipeline with V Friends and the Jackass cards, like him or not, as far as those cards are concerned, he's visionary, and it takes a visionary to actually push something forward into the future to grow it. So we'll see where that goes.
Purple Haze says here, bad optics, my man. Tone deaf for a so-called chief visionary of the hobby. Makes me lose some confidence for sure. Wake and Break says, I'm feeling kind of salty about the fact shady business practices doesn't set well my personal values, but hey, who am I to judge? I'm just stay in my lane and keep on keeping on blessings. I think that in the hobby, right? Let's just think about it. Let's take a step back. Why people feel this is something that just came to my mind. Why do people feel the way they feel about certain things when it happens? I've been collecting for a long time. When we were young or even young adults, did you hear a lot from Topps executives at all about anything? Did you see them?
Never.
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 I tell people right now, Beckett card grading, you don't see them,
Nope.
right? You don't hear anything from them,
But yet they're still there.
but they're still there. And I entrust. I just sent a card to Beckett. They're uh, I have many graded cards. I have a LeBron James 2003 Topps Chrome graded by them. They affect our hobby, right? But you don't hear from them. So Luber, Ruben, you hear from them, you see them. So I think people have been through collecting for years where they've never seen anybody, never heard from anybody. So when you start seeing people, then you become very, you have a nature of people to become very like, what are they doing?
Right.
Why are they saying that? Why would they do this? Why would he go do a break with backyard breaks? And I'm not giving anybody an out. I don't want anybody to think that I'm just thinking about this critically, right? Stepping back and thinking about you're seeing people for the first time in the industry where in other forms of business it's commonplace to see someone, hear from
Yeah.
someone, read a tweet from someone, see an IG post from someone. We're just now realizing this in the hobby.
Yeah. I mean, we saw it at the Mint, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Mint Collective here in Vegas was a good showing as far as what the future of card shows might get to someday. It was very much a meet and greet, socialization of all the industry influencers out there. You had all the big wigs here at that show, and a little bit different take on what a card show normally is, right? Uh,
Yep.
they had some pluses. They did some things well, but a lot of people were not ready for something like that, and I think that it'll evolve into something possibly down the road, how shows might look and feel.
But see, Baker Boy, which I always love Baker Boy's comments. He has great comments. He says no internet back then, FD, no social. But I will still argue you don't really hear from Beckett Grading right now in their
Yeah,
social media right now, right?
yeah,
You start hearing from certain people at Tops even before they were acquired, but that was a long time. Like I didn't really hear anything from Tops, and that was social media. I didn't get a lot from. So I just think that this is just my opinion. I think there are a lot of good point, Baker. Yeah, Baker makes good points. There are, I think there are going to be more things in the future that we're going to look at and say, I agree with that. I can see why that is happening. There might be things in the future that we look at and be like, what is that all about?
right.
Doing a break with backyard. When I first heard about this, I was like, okay, this is going to stir the pot. It's going to be a
Oh,
little bit different
absolutely,
here.
absolutely.
But it's something that Luber wanted to do. So we'll see how this plays out. But I mean, I don't know. You know, definitely. One thing I will
We'll see.
One thing I
We'll
will
see.
say, whenever you have something going on, right? We're talking about it. I talked about it on the live last night.
Mhm.
There are other people around social media talking about it. We see posts, right? So sometimes, even if it's controversial, if you're consistently in front of people and people are talking about you, it could be negative or positive. Just think about what goes on in the land of um, reality TV and other things. That there are people consistently being talked about, no matter what. They're in your mind, they're in my mind. We think about them. There are people viewing things on TV to watch their shows. Keeps people relevant. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is that. Could be.
Well, social media has taken the industry, I believe, in a whole different direction than a few years back. I mean, if you think about it, breakers really didn't come on the scene. I mean, they've always been there for the past, I think, 10 years or so, like maybe even longer than that, but really came on the scene strong in the past few years. And with social media, people jumping on Instagram and posting all this stuff, it's so much easier than it was in the hobby back then. So social media has helped, I believe, in some things, and other things, obviously, not.
So let me ask you, Sensei, do you buy into breaks? Do you
No. I've probably bought into about two breaks in my entire collecting career, just to
so
see
you
how it was to test it out.
so you've bought into two to see how it wasn't tested out.
Yep.
I've bought into one. I got a Sam Darnold card out of that before he entered the draft. It was with his college jersey on, all that, right?
Yep.
So I've got into one. So you and I are not the demographic, right? We're not the people that are in breaks.
No, and it's a risk, right? I mean, it's a huge risk that you're taking. One of the breaks that I bought into, it was for $100, and it was to break about 12 different type of boxes, basketball and football combined. And I was fortunate that one of those boxes was a collegiate NT box of the Kate Cunningham and what was his name? Franz Wagner. They're those rookie cards in their college jerseys. And I ended up pulling both of their RPAs out of that break. Now that's lucky, right? But I didn't want to gamble again. I didn't want to take my chances to keep buying. But that's how it is. You hit big once, and then you go down the rabbit hole, and you start more breaks, and it can be pretty pricey. But yeah, I mean, it's not my demographic. It's not my cup of tea.
But I can see why people enjoy it. I mean, I can go to Vegas, right? And I'm probably the person I'm sitting back looking at someone playing blackjack, a roulette, or doing something else. I'm like really like watching that, just seeing how things go on. How many times do I jump in? That's just not me. I don't jump in a lot on that, but I definitely can sit back and understand why someone enjoys the rush of it, the feeling of it. I can understand that. I recently, I like to learn all aspects of things, right? So I've done the break thing once. Sat in on a drip live just to understand how that goes. What is that? I've done that. I don't know if it's necessarily for me. I don't know, but I like to at least see what's going on, what's happening in the hobby. How do people feel about that? I fell into the break addiction during the pandemic. It's an addiction for sure. Wake and break shares. Honestly, I'm still waiting on a box from a break almost a year. It's crazy shady. I just adopted Burbank as my LCS and make the trip every month. He also says, let's keep it real. Breakers were a way to keep costs down and break wax with friends and share experiences. So
I agree with that statement.
I think Ranger second 75th has a joke here. Maybe Luber was conducting a personal interview for future allocations. Go and no go. This is interesting now. It's interesting how these things come out, hit the news, and I like to listen to everybody's take on it. Just one of those things for me. Big John Collector's Card says one thing breaks give you is access to wax around the country, especially if you are without an LCS. True.
Good point.
Has anybody here in the chat room been on a drip live? What do they think about that? What was that experience like for you? I'd just be, as we go on, I'd be interested to see what you think of that. You only get one first impression. Backyard breaks are just a bad idea. Let me just say this, right? Let me kind of play devil's advocate. Backyard breaks still appears to be doing very well for themselves.
They have a huge following.
After all this controversy,
huge.
I hear people say that their integrity is of question. They're still backyard breaks are still breaking big cards, and a lot of people are involved.
Yep.
I see Anthony here says that he's never heard of a drip live. Okay.
Don't worry, Anthony. That's new to me too.
Yep. It was new to me up until the mint. Okay. Up until the mint is when I started understanding what was up with drip. Drip was similar to whatnot. Yeah. Drip is doing lives all the time. So I'm on there. Let me see if I get on tonight. What I see. I was on their app a couple of weeks ago, and they have breaks happening all the time. Just all the time.
Very similar to whatnot.
Like right now, I just entered a room. I don't even know who this person is, right? There are 2,810 drip breaks happening right now as we speak.
Wow. I think that's more than what whatnot does.
There are 24 people in the room that I'm in right now.
Okay.
So just extrapolate that out. If some of these rooms are probably a little bit smaller, some of these rooms are a little bit bigger.
Right.
But people are breaking, folks. Let me show you this. People are breaking right now. So it's, I
don't think that's ever going to go away. Like the comments that you read earlier, it's a way for people to buy into a box that's too expensive. Not everybody has $2,000 out there to buy a box with them. They get priced out, right? So the only way that they can enjoy that is by buying into a break.
And then, like Big John says, you got Loop out there. Loop is there. that you can check out as well.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, Backyard did pull the LeBron triple logo, man. People are speculating on that. I've heard a lot of people say that they knew what they were about to break. So you can take that as a grain of salt. I have no evidence, no concrete evidence of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we get, even Coin Crazy says, what are either of those? It's people who haven't been on this stuff. But when I go to shows, I can only speak to when I go to a show. There's a younger group that is thoroughly involved in what we're talking about right now. Backyard breaks, drip, loop, whatnot, thoroughly involved. There are content creators who are thoroughly involved in whatnot.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I saw a lot more of that happening in the last 3 or 4 months, where a lot of these influencers out there. I mean, you got Mojo Sports, you got Sasha T.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these big influencers on IG and other platforms, YouTube, are doing the whatnot breaks, right? Or they're selling their cards on whatnot.
Sure.
A lot of people are doing that. I mean, and it's just the day and age we live in, right? Technology has gotten so advanced with what we do as far as the hobby, and people are taking advantage of that platform when it comes out and capitalizing on that.
So when I went to the National last year, they dedicated a whole area of the National to just breaking. So there
Wow.
were different breakers at different tables representing their companies breaking cards. Uh, there was a LeBron X Fractor pulled out of 2003 Topps Chrome.
Wow.
There were big cards being pulled out. There was some boxes being opened. There was nothing coming out. But all this stuff was happening live while we were walking by at the tables at the National. I think that was the first year that they dedicated so much space to breaking.
Yeah, I heard something about how they all get together, I think, once a year and do a massive break. All the breakers get together. It's like a breaker convention or something like that. I can't remember the name of it, but I did overhear that they do something like that once a year. They break a bunch of product together.
Mikey says, if either one of you were involved in that Trevor Lawrence rookie, how would you feel? They took it from you. I wouldn't feel good. I wouldn't feel good about it.
Who would?
Yeah, no, I don't think anyone would. Not at all. I'll meet with my buddy Chaos in Dallas. He is drip, 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 and whatnot. Let me get us insight and perspective. Yeah, it'd be interesting to talk to someone that really does a lot of breaking and get some insight from them. I'm sure breakers weigh their wax as easy, then sell the search wax to market. If that is the case, Baker Boy, that could be the case. I've watched just some breaks myself. Like there was a break, I forgot how long ago it was and who was doing it, where they opened up, I think, 5 or 6 boxes of National Treasures before they hit a LaMelo Ball RPA. And the LaMelo Ball RPA, I think, broke even with everything that had just opened.
Yeah,
So,
and that's unfortunate because what Baker Boy is saying. There could be some truth to that, right?
oh yeah, I
You
think they
could
could.
have you could have these people out there weighing boxes. They buy a case, right? They're looking for that case hit, and they're trying to weigh the boxes to see which one's heavier and keep that one for themselves, and then just sell the other ones on a break.
But let's get even deeper than that, right? If you're if you have a company and you're producing product, if there is a recall on food, they know a lot to call back, right? So you
Absolutely.
you probably might know which card was inserted in what cases and where those cases are hit. You may even know that. I don't know. I don't know the technology behind how cards are produced and distributed. I do not
Yeah,
know.
I don't know either. I don't know how these big companies, Tops and Panini out there, really hone in on where that product is heading, what distributor it's going to see where it's being pulled. I was watching a little bit of a live stream from Spidey the other day, and he made a good point that Upper Deck, for example, they just have one distributor, one main distributor that they sell an entire product to because they just want to get rid of it. They don't want to have it sitting around. They want to get their money's worth out of it and focus on the next product, right? So they just sell it to one distributor, and that distributor sells it down to 5 other distributors that then go to LCSs and drop it off there. So
that's good insight.
yeah.
Spidey has a great relationship with them, so great insight. Big John says the more fans you have as content creator, the more people are willing to overpay for cars on Whatnot just to say they did a deal. That's interesting. It's interesting. That's not my mindset at all. I mean, I don't. I know I'm trying to wrap my head around that right now. I don't know. I would never. If you and I were talking, right, and it came down to a car deal. Now we know each other. We talk,
Yeah.
relationship, right? Where I'm from and how I think, like, I'm not asking you to cut me a certain price because we know each other.
No.
I wouldn't ask that question. I wouldn't even allude to that. Now we're talking about a form of business that we're conducting with each other. But maybe other people, I don't know. I couldn't.
That's not how I do business.
No.
Not with people that I know.
All right, from the bench says I've watched those big name guys get smoked on deals constantly on Whatnot. I need to get on Whatnot, man. I've never been on.
Yeah, well, I think what he's referring to is a lot of these big time people that are on Whatnot. You have to pick and choose the product that you sell on Whatnot. Unless you have a large following on Whatnot for you to be able to promote like a high end sale of a live stream going on, you can lose a lot. And I've seen a lot of these people that come into Whatnot that try and stream thinking that everybody that comes into their live stream has the bucks to spend, and they end up selling cards for way less than what the actual cost.
So break it down to me, Sin City, Alex. How does it work? You get on, I put product X up. I put this mouse up for sale. How does this work when I put this mouse up? Am I on a certain time frame, and the auction itself dictates the price of this mouse?
Yeah. So to start from the very beginning, in order for you to be able to be a seller on Whatnot, you have to put an application in with Whatnot. They're so backed up with applications right now that I've heard people waiting an entire year to get their application approved to be able to sell on the platform. Right. Once you get approved, you go on, you set up live on a specific day and time that you're going to sell your items. And a lot of people that are successful at it enter their inventory before their show goes live. The ones that don't enter their inventory and just kind of put a vague name on every single auction that they're doing could get confusing at times when they're trying to go to ship items and things like that, right? So they just enter their inventory in a day before or however they do it. And then when they go live, they find their item to list, put it up there, put a timer on it, put a starting price on it. And however long the timer goes for, whatever it ends on, that's what it sells for.
So what would be the benefit of doing this over eBay because it's an immediate sale?
It's an immediate transaction. Yeah. You don't have to wait 5 days, 7 days for an auction on eBay to end. And you don't have to wait weeks or months for a car that's on a buy it now option to sell at the price that you wanted to sell it, right?
Do you see higher dollar amount cars on Whatnot?
There's a couple of streamers out there that have high end nights, and they sell cards for pretty expensive, a couple $1,000s. I've seen as of late comic book streamers on Whatnot having success with higher end comic selling. There was a first appearance of the Galactus Fantastic Four that sold for over $6,000 the other night. That's pretty big.
Yeah, you just answered my question. Okay. Yeah, that is very big. $6,000 comic book on Whatnot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Selling within minutes.
Mikey says Whatnot is tough. I just did my first live sale and lost 70% out of 150 slabs.
Yeah, it's tough.
So Backyard has a post on Instagram that I just happened to stumble upon. Okay. I'm just going to read a little bit of this just to put this out here to be, we keep it real on what's the play. Recently, this is what they're saying, and this is a swipe, right? There's a little bit of information here. Recently, There has been increased social chatter about our organization, including a claim that we mark cars during a break. That claim is completely baseless, and it appears to come from continued criticism around the Trevor Lawrence giveaway in January. First, the Trevor Lawrence Go Kaboom incident. To set the record straight, we fully recognize that we had a mistake in that moment and we didn't handle it the right way. But at no point did we intend to deceive or scam anyone. This was a unique situation that we managed in real time, and we tried our best to make it right. We listened to our community and decided to donate money to the Boys and Girls Club and gave the card away later that night. We also contacted the person who many thought won, in quotes, the Kaboom um, card, and he agreed that it was all very confusing, but that he was not the rightful winner. We assessed the situation. We've grown from it, and we've made our business better to ensure something like this never happens again. Dot dot dot. I'm gonna move forward a little bit regarding the claim that we're marking cards. It is libel and a direct attack on our business. These allegations are 100% false. We have never and will never mark a single card. At the end of the day, there's another paragraph here that I'm going to move past. At the end of the day, we strive to create the most entertaining and positive environment in every break we do. These allegations do not correspond with how we have and will continue to build and invest in our business. We encourage everyone to join our streams and form their own opinions. The Backyard community welcomes anyone and everyone with open arms. There's another page here that says, "We love you, Backyard Breaks."
They have a lot of following, man. And again, it's good that they try to get ahead of it and put out statements to kind of, fix the confusion that occurred during that Trevor Lawrence thing. Again, there's always two sides of the coin. We don't know exactly what took place, and it's good to see that they put a statement out there to try and fix it.
That's right. And what I want to do, I just happened to stumble upon that, is that just try to bring people information as it becomes available. I don't care if it's something on social media or something that we just saw in a game. We try to talk about it. I think everybody who watched the Trevor Lawrence thing knows something probably hit you somewhere that felt weird. Right.
Yeah.
So if they didn't address that, I'm actually surprised it took this long.
Yeah.
If they didn't really address that in a statement or something, it would shock me. And I think with Luber probably being around, that's probably why that statement is there.
Yep.